The biggest construction project in the Quad Cities history is entering that phase that has one of the biggest impacts on drivers. And we've seen a flood crest already. Why won't that be the last in the cities? A near record crest on the Rock and a second crest within a week on the Mississippi. Is that what 2019 is all about on the river? We'll be better able to answer that coming up. But first, the old joke that there are only two seasons around here, winter and road construction season, is taking on a new meaning this year as work on the Interstate 74 bridge drives commuters off the highway and onto downtown streets. Traffic engineers are trying to make the transition in Moline and Bettendorf as smooth as they can, but it's still going to be a hassle. And joining us is the I-74 Corridor Manager, George Ryan. So nice of you to join us. We appreciate it. We knew this time was going to come. 2019 was going to be the headache year for commuters. And right now we're detouring in Moline. How's that going? And I know it's only been, what, 3, 4, 5 days? Yeah,
it's just been a good part of a week. And you know what? It's going really well. The traffic has really helped, and it appears that traffic that can divert, stay out on the bypasses are doing so, and that's a huge aid. We always anticipated there would be less traffic on 19th Street than there was on I-74 prior to enacting the detour.
I mean, the approaches to the Quad Cities on I-80, I mean, I take it all the signs are saying, don't even think of taking this route, but can you really measure that impact yet?
No, you know, we are starting to keep track, and we will have a good feel for what that is, but obviously for the to have the most confidence in your time of trip, if you are bound across the river, if you can stay out on the bypasses, it will certainly help. You will have a more enjoyable trip, and you won't have to worry about the road construction.
Well, the Bettendorf detour is now being delayed until this coming Monday. It's actually going to be kind of a two-phase thing, because the first time you're going to direct them off of the Grant Street exit, then up Kimberly to Middle Road. That lasts until June. And then you get rid of that Kimberly Middle Road part.
Correct. During that time frame, there will be some work on the westbound side of I-74, and then they'll be put back very similar to where they enter I-74 today along 14th Street and remain there for the remainder of this stage of construction.
We were talking about the fact that, I mean, traffic goes where it wants to go, and your best laid plans and engineering and mathematics can be one thing, human nature is another. Is this something that you have to monitor real closely, is how these detours are working?
Absolutely, that's a great point. So we do monitor how they're working, and we've been tweaking the detours based on what we see, and we'll continue to monitor and tweak throughout the process. And you find that traffic will find a level of saturation, much as if you've got water going through a battery of pipes. You know, it divides up and it goes where it needs to go. So we're learning the traffic's learning the detour, and they'll find the best ways around within that if they don't use the bypasses. And you know, as we get into this, it will become smoother, but this is went exceptionally well, primarily because a lot of traffic is diverting and staying out on the bypasses.
Well, and let's be honest, I mean, anybody who lives in the Quad Cities knows that, I mean, these are pretty no-nonsense detours. It's pretty straight over, you know, there's not much to it. There's also not much you could do to change it, to make it any simpler, I would think, or easier, or more direct.
No, you know, there's been a lot of work put into rebuilding 19th Street, doing the things that we need to do to make the detour more palatable, make it service the area better, because the intent of that is for local traffic to get in and around Moline, as well as local traffic in Moline to cross the river on one lane of the existing I-74 bridge.
But the one big variable is still the train tracks in Moline.
That is certainly a variable, and we're tracking the times of trains and how long the gates are down, how long the backups are, and the worst backups would be at your peak times in the morning, at noon, and in the early evening. So we're watching those and trying to monitor, and you know, myself, I will drive further and maybe even a little longer time if I can know that I can make this trip in 20 minutes going this way, or if you go through the train tracks and you can make it with no train in 7, it could be 10 to whatever if there's a train.
Absolutely.
So you know, it's a personal thing, but the other thing is we have signs throughout the corridor on I-74 warning when a train is going to be there. So that lets people disperse and do different things rather than get to that point and then have to wait for a train.
And then the big concern, of course, on the Bettendorf side is that when you do take the Grant Street exit and you get to that stoplight, you don't want that backing up onto the interstate.
Correct. We do not want that to. And you know, we work with Moline, we work with Bettendorf to maximize the signal timings to keep traffic moving. And that's part of the tweaking that we'll do as we work through this to make sure that traffic's moving, and we'll continue to monitor to keep traffic moving the best it can given the situation.
Well, let's talk about the exciting construction that is going on this year. I mean, in the past 18 months, we've seen amazing things, but this is the year that it's going to be the big eye-opener. What happens from this point forward?
Absolutely. So, you know, the keystone of this whole project is the arch out in the middle of the river, and we've got a couple pieces of the arch on the Iowa side that are attached to the concrete ribs, and we've got another one that'll be attached soon, and the other one probably early next month. And so, you know, we're looking forward to completing the arch, starting to get the floor into the arch section. This summer you'll see a lot of new bridge deck poured on the land-based portions of I-74. You'll see a lot of work out in the river. We're going to continue, and you know, the arch is just going to be the keystone of the whole project as we complete it.
Well, and the arch is more than eye candy, isn't it? I mean, it does serve a purpose.
Oh, it serves a huge purpose. Okay, you know, it spans 750 foot or so across the channel, so it's a long span arch, and it's a major structure.
Let's talk about how the bridge now ties in, or at least the corridor ties in the coming months. Now, mind you, the detours are going to last for most of this year, 2019, through Moline and in Bettendorf. And during that period of time, you're tearing apart the old Interstate 74 approaches, at least on the Moline side. I'm assuming on the Bettendorf side as well.
Yeah, correct. So what happens is the project was designed when we took the project to accelerated it, then we had to basically reconstruct and build 3 lanes in the westbound direction first, complete the westbound river bridge, put westbound traffic on that, and then put eastbound traffic on the westbound side, and do the same on the eastbound side.
All right, now I got to figure this one out. So I mean, all that work that went from the Rock River to Avenue of the Cities in Moline, that was in order to prepare for this.
Correct. You're talking about the expansion of I-74 to 3-lane width in that area. Yeah, that did not fit the rest of the detour because 19th Street wasn't parallel at that point.
Exactly.
So it was staged more traditional, where we shove traffic out, build the inside, bring them in, build the outside.
So when the detours are finished sometime later this year in 2019, where will people be driving? They won't be driving on the new bridge.
Okay, so at this point it appears that we'll be done with, in Illinois, we'll be done with the roadway, the new roadway on I-74 before the bridge is done.
Everything the approach.
What we would do then is probably put people on the new I-74 pavement, but they would still have to get on.
I see.
They'd have to exit and then get back on at River Drive to get over into Iowa, which would be very similar to what's going on right now.
And so when is the soonest that somebody would be driving over one of the 2 spans of the new I-74 bridge?
Okay, so the westbound span will be the first to be driven over,
Right.
and the driving force for that will be, number one, how much flooding are we going to get this spring?
Right.
Number 2, the arch is a very complicated build. It's the most complicated part of the entire project. So we should have a really good feel. At this point in time, we've said before the middle of the year in
2020, yeah.
Yeah, in 2020, and you know,
Maybe 15 months from now or so.
yeah, so we'll keep monitoring, and we'll be in a better position as soon as we get the arch well underway to see how that's going to come together, because it's so complicated, as well as how much the flooding may or may not stall us. So we're at a critical point in the project.
Because, I mean, part of the bridge will be, it's not going to just open on a Tuesday. I mean, part of the bridge will be opening early.
Yes, that's correct.
To get Iowa-bound traffic there.
Yes.
Let's talk about the flooding. 2 things. One is, I know last year you were worried about river navigation, people that were on the Mississippi River. What could people on the river Will there be the same restrictions this year as last year, or the same concerns?
Yes, so the same concerns will be there. As a matter of fact, the contractor in the river will be doing more heavy lifting because of the arches, as well as the beams and pouring decks and doing a lot of work out on the river, continuing that work.
So your two main concerns are what? People getting too close to the project, or also creating a big wake?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So what will happen is the no wake buoys will go back out, and those will be enforced by the Department of Conservation. And we're just asking boaters to be careful, stay in the channel if they can, and if they have to be outside the channel, still avoid the work area as much as possible, because it's dangerous for them and it's dangerous for the workers. So we will go out with with some public messages on that here in the next month or so, and remind boaters, and we'll have pamphlets at the various marinas and the like.
Because it's tempting to get close.
It is, and you know what? You can get close enough to see a lot without being close enough to be in danger.
Then the other thing is the flooding. As you've heard, the Mississippi River is going to be at a high level for an extended period of time, at least through mid-May.
Yes.
What concerns does that give you now?
Well, and we ran into a lot of this last summer and fall with the amount of flooding we had. It was unusually high for unusual durations, and the contractor gets to a point where he can't anchor his barges where they need to be to do the work, so it actually kept them from working quite a bit of time. And then when they can work in it, because of the higher velocities, it just makes everything slower and more tedious.
Right.
It's a huge safety issue for the contractor, and they're going to, they will not compromise safety. So
nor do you want them to, of course.
Nor do we want to. We want everyone to go home safe at night, the motorists, the contractors, everyone. And safety is the biggest priority of the entire project.
You've been a part of a number of projects as far as highway and bridge construction is concerned. Tell me how this one fits on your list. I mean, this is a pretty big deal for the Quad Cities, but I'm just trying to get my brain wrapped around whether or not this is a huge deal for a person who's a professional in the transportation field.
I have been involved with a lot of big projects. This by far is the most complicated, tedious, communication needing project that I've ever been on.
And what is the reason why? Is it because you're tying in an old interstate with a new, or what makes this one so special?
That's part of it, but a big part of it is the complexity of building the arch in the river, just the Quad Cities and the way that things happen in the Quad Cities, as well as working with 2 state DOTs and Moline and Bettendorf. And big part of my job is make sure that everyone's informed on this and that we're all pulling the same way throughout the corridor to get this done. So it's a very complicated job, but you know what? I've got a great team working with me that just does a phenomenal job.
It is very hard, because you're thinking that the entire bridge or the entire project, except for perhaps additional projects north on I-74, that you're aiming for a mid-2021 opening. That must give you it's hard to say whether the project's ahead of schedule or behind schedule. I know that you guys probably have it down to the very week, but I mean, I would assume there's a lot of areas where you can catch up during that period of time.
There are. We have enough time. We're confident, that we can deliver this pretty close to on time, barring any huge issues happening as far as the project on a whole. But it is a very complicated project that the staging is very, very fine-tuned, and for a reason, because that's the way it has to be built in order to deliver it in the time frame that it's been promised.
Well, it really is like a ballet act. I mean, you've got everything going on in every different location, and I think a lot of people don't understand is that this isn't a 9-to-5 job. I mean, you got crews out there throughout the night at least.
Yes, they're working double shifts much of the time, and they'll do that where they need to. This whole project was set up on a very accelerated schedule. I mean, if you think about it, over $1 billion worth of construction in 3.5 years, just to give you a feel for how fast-paced that truly is. I-74 through Peoria that I managed was $500 million. That was 5.5 years, and I thought it was fast-paced. So I catch myself coming and going on this one. The whole team is so busy to keep this going and to keep everyone up to speed with what's going on and make sure that everyone knows.
Give you one last chance. What do you want to say to Quad City commuters over the next few days particularly, but at least now through the end of the year?
What I would say is if you can avoid the construction, that's always the best bet. If you can't, please just really be aware of your surroundings, because there will be small changes, and we'll come out with postings ahead of time what those changes are going to be, but please just be patient with us, really, for the magnitude of work that's happening. This is by far the worst year. And when we get out of this stage and into the next stage, it's going to be much easier on everyone. So it's hard to say, because when you're sitting in traffic, it's hard to remember. But what we're going to get in the end and what the Quad Cities is going to have is going to be dependable transportation, safe transportation for years to come with minimal maintenance. So it'll be a lot different than we've endured for many years in the Quad Cities.
George Ryan, Interstate 74 Corridor Manager. Thank you so much. I always forget the corridor part. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. In a moment, gauging the rivers. Just what are the problems we'll see as our area sees the snow up north continue to melt and come down here. But first, here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for March 18th through 24th. After winter, everyone's yearning for spring. Walk into a springtime heaven at the QCCA Flower and Garden Show March 22nd to 24th. A Mexican fiesta will be held at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Rock Island on March 23rd from 5 to 7:30 to support Cristo Rey Lutheran Church in East Moline. The Bettendorf Kiwanis Club holds a trivia night at the Birchwood Fields Learning Center in Davenport on the 23rd. While the Quad City Family Caregiver Conference, a free event supporting caregivers, will be held March 23rd at the Rogalski Center at St. Ambrose University starting at 8 a.m. The Quarter Craze and Vendor event takes place at the Anawan Community Center March 23rd starting at 1, or join the Niabi Zoo for their Wine and Design event on March 22nd, where you don't have to be an artist to have fun. The Hauberg Civic Center invites you to investigate the paranormal at Spirit and Bites on the 23rd at 6. And also at the Hauberg, it's Tunes at the Tulip, a live music experience the fourth Friday of each month at 7. The Mississippi Valley Blues Society present the Ghost Town Blues Band March 24th at the Moline Viking Club. Circuit 21 welcomes back Chris Collins and Boulder Cannon with a John Denver tribute on March 21st. While the Quad City Music Guild presents Jesus Christ Superstar through the 31st. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Musician Lojo Russo says performing is her passion, but it's a long, strange, wonderful trip of promise and adventure, she says. Well, that adventure led her to Moline's Black Box Theater with a performance of some of her original works. Here's Lojo Russo with Where We Left Off.
It's been a while since I seen your face, man, I missed your smile. How's the wife and the kids? start from where we left off.
Lojo Russo, where we left off. She's performing next Friday at Dubuque's Dimensional Brewing and the week after that at Grumpy's in the village of East Davenport. Well, we've come to expect spring flooding each and every year, but this year is proving to be a challenge. Last weekend, the Rock was mere inches from a record-breaking crest, and the Mississippi is heading towards its second crest with the possibility of more on the way. And predicting it is the job of the National Weather Service and hydrologist Jessica Brooks, who's joining us right now.
Wow.
It's an impossible job. I just don't understand how you know that all this water up north is coming this way and at the certain levels that it's going to reach.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's a science.
Right. I mean, we talk about how sometimes it's really difficult to predict the weather, where, you know, when it's going to rain, how much it's going to rain. So we have to predict that, as well as then predict how that water and rain that falls is going to impact the rivers and how the river heights are going to get and so on.
So what is impacting the Rock River as opposed to the Mississippi River? Is it two different things? Is it all snowmelt, or is there different things going on here?
It's essentially the same thing,
okay.
However, in two different scopes. The Rock River has got its rise because we had rain and we had snow melt, because we had quite a bit of snow this year.
So we had the ice jams that occurred,
and we
so
had
that
the
was
ice,
part of it.
the
Yeah,
ice
exactly.
jams too, which the Rock River is known for. It's
Notorious.
It's honestly one of the most ice jam prone rivers in the whole upper Midwest. So that's kind of something we really stay in tune with. But we had all the snow that melted in a pretty quick fashion here a few weeks ago now. And then we had a lot of rain. People remember that.
Right.
Our ground was frozen. So essentially when that's happening, the water has nowhere to go but into the rivers.
It's just pure runoff.
Yes, yes. So, you know, you think about it as rain falling on concrete.
Yeah.
So it just goes right into your storm drains, into your rivers.
So is the
so on.
Mississippi River then exactly the same, or are there other factors in there? The reason why I'm getting at this is that it seems like the Rock River hit an almost record crest, but the Mississippi is going to be like cresting more often. It's almost like the Mississippi would be a longer term problem than the Rock. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're correct. So what we have to look at is all the snow melt and the water coming from that snow melt going through the tributary systems, so the Rock River, the Iowa River, the Cedar River, the Wapsipinicon River in our area, and every other tributary as we go up through the upper Mississippi River Basin, which extends into central, almost northern Minnesota,
Absolutely, yeah.
into the northern parts of
Lake
Wisconsin.
Itasca, as we have learned.
Yes, yes. So it's just a much larger area we have to deal with for the Mississippi, and in that we have, like, in this year we've had different scenarios where we've melted, say, a tier of the snow. So we had like one melt and the rains, which caused the first crest on the Mississippi, which is on its way down now. And then we're going to crest again, which was kind of the next tier of snow that melted. But we still have a really large chunk of snow remaining of the upper part of the Mississippi River Basin that has yet to come down.
That's what I was wondering, and that is why you're projecting. I mean, the worst may not be. I mean, if you think about it,
Right.
and flooding's bad, I understand that, but this isn't the worst flooding we've seen in the Mississippi River.
Oh no, not at all.
And that's why, I mean, staying under 20 feet when the flood level is 15 in the Quad Cities and in Burlington as well, although Burlington saw a little worse than we did. But this is going to be a sustained on the Mississippi River well into May?
Very possibly.
Really?
Right now, what we're projecting with the temperatures that are forecast over the next 14 days, 21 days, we're anticipating the snowmelt to really start going up in Minnesota, Wisconsin areas here over this weekend and then into the next couple weeks. And so once that snow melts, it still takes time. It takes about a week, maybe a little more than that, for the water to get from there to here. So the most probable timing we're looking at right now is about mid to late April.
For another major event?
For the bigger crest, our big
Interesting.
crest. And that could extend into May. There's always the possibility of heavy rain to happen, and
Right.
that will change things. But strictly speaking, snow melt, middle to late April is kind of what we're thinking for the higher, the next crest or the bigger crest to come through.
So then what about the Rock River? I mean, since it's not as big of a, I'm going to use the word watershed perhaps.
Yeah,
That's not,
no, that's correct.
With
That's
all the
absolutely
tributaries and all that, it's obviously a smaller problem than you see with the Mississippi River. Is the worst then done for the Rock, at least for now? And I know you're going to hedge.
A little bit. No, so
Because it's never black and white.
right. So with the Rock, we've gotten rid of most of the snow in the Rock River Basin, which that does extend into Wisconsin. But our analysis shows that almost the entirety of the Rock River Basin has lost all its snow to this point.
But let's be honest, the land is still frozen. You're
Yes.
still got the chance of a heavy rain that could change everything.
Yeah, so we still have very high river levels, obviously. We still have the crest moving through the Pecatonica, which is a very big tributary river to the Rock. So we can see a little bump in the lower Rock here, but not expecting, another big rise due to snowmelt.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, we still have saturated soils that we're dealing with. So once the ground does lose its frost and we are unfrozen, we still have very saturated soils. So any big rains we get,
and high flood levels. So I mean, it just doesn't take much now.
right. So any big rains we might get through, probably the first part of May at least, could cause rising levels again. But
For the Rock.
but for now, we're looking at the Rock continue to see a gradual fall. Probably won't fall below flood stage for another probably 10 days or so, 7 to 10 days.
Are we seeing worse floods now more often for a particular reason?
We are seeing a trend of, more extreme events. So, and that doesn't just mean rainfall, but also droughts. But yeah, we're seeing more of these extreme events here over probably say the last 10 years. In terms of the snow melt, maybe getting that to be a little earlier in the year.
Right.
So, and we've also seen the growing season extend by about a week on each side. So, that could have something to do with getting these extreme levels. I mean, granted, but you look back and we had extreme floods, 50, 100 years ago as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Not measured 100 years ago as well, but I mean, we really know what's going on right now, or I should say you really know what's going on right now. So I guess what we're going to look at, just to summarize, is that we're going to see a slowly declining Rock River with some more perhaps peaks, but it's the Mississippi that we have to be most worried about.
Yeah, right now our high concern is the Mississippi. We do still have rises expected on the lower ends of the Cedar River and the lower ends of the Rock River, and the Wapsipinicon River still kind of right at its crest right now. So those should be kind of on their way down here in the next week. So then, yeah, all focus goes to really the Mississippi and when it's going to really reach its peak and how high that peak's really going to be.
And then it comes down way too slowly.
Yeah, yes.
It's like gas prices. It goes up fast and comes down way too slow.
And it's going to stay at high levels for an extended period of time. So if you live along the river, expect it to stay really high through, I would say middle of May.
Big impact. Jessica Brooks,
Yes.
hydrologist with the National Weather Service. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the work you do, too. Predicting is not an easy business, like I'm telling her something she doesn't know, huh? WQPT is doing its part to support the military men and women in the cities who are serving our nation. We call it Embracing the Military. And the Military Fatherhood Program has another free opportunity for dads and their kids to bond in the cities. You can make your reservation right now for what's called Science Fun Night at the Putnam Museum. The STEM Center has 45 hands-on centers you can share with kids of all ages. Plus, there's free pizza. It's coming up Thursday, March 28th, and you can contact the Arsenal Family Advocacy Program for details. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device, thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.